I apologize for the bad lighting, guys, but let me explain what you're actually looking at here. Here we have obviously the 104 with the thread protector still left on there. Two reasons for that. Number one, it covers up the threads, obviously, so there's no chance that we could damage it. And number two, it gives you an index point. Now, I added a washer on there just to sort of give me some space, because like I said, I'm not sure, honestly, if this is going to work. So what that's going to do is it's going to give me about 2 millimeters when you combine it with the thread protector as well as the washer off of the end of the barrel. So that way if I do jack it up, I can take it to a gunsmith. So I was planning originally on using a hacksaw with this, but I'm lazy. And but my plan was to use a hacksaw and just kind of ride the edge of the washer all the way down, which I'd imagine would work just fine. However, I do have a Dremel tool, so we're going to see how that works. The issue with the Dremel tool that I'm kind of just thinking off the top of my head is I'm going to actually have to cut a little bit further out due to the angle, but if you guys have wider cutting wheels, which I know some of you guys do, I'm sure that would work just fine. Honestly, I don't know how it's going to work as well with the cold hammer forged barrel, but we're going to see. Throughout the video, I'm just going to fast forward through parts that are monotonous, so I'm going to try cutting into it here, and then you'll probably see where I come to here in just a second. Well, now we have an SBR, as you can see here. The barrel's chopped off, but completely uneven. If you were to shoot it like that, your accuracy would be horrible. You'd have all kinds of issues. Your bullet would be tumbling, and you'd probably be getting some strikes on the bullet itself, just because all those jagged edges. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a grinding tool with the Dremel there, just to sort of try to even it up. And what you want here, guys, is a 90-degree angle. So I have a 90-degree angle tool that I'll be able to put on the face there to be able to ensure that I'm doing that. But initially I'm just going to kind of want to grind a little bit down just to make it a little bit shorter. Again, the washer's there to protect it and make sure I don't go too far. Not sure how well that comes across due to the bad lighting, but the face here is getting close to square. I'm going to use a hand file at this point to really get the edges just right. So with the hand file, I got it down to where we're at a 90-degree angle. A few off wires, areas that are sort of not even, but those are on the edge, and that's just from where I cut it down with the Dremel tool. I don't think that'll affect anything. We're going to see. But what I'm going to do now is just polish up the metal surfaces there before we move on to the crowning. If you hear my dogs walking around, I apologize, but they're out here being assistant gunsmiths today. So at least YouTube internet gunsmiths. So what we're going to do here is just polish it up. I just have some Mother's polish and just a polishing wheel. And we're going to get sort of the nastiness that the file left on there out of there. Now that we've got it polished out to a reasonable polish on there, I'm going to use some valve grinding compound and just a wood brass screw, as you can see here, because we're trying to use stuff we have around here to avoid paying for a gunsmith. So if this doesn't work, obviously that's what we're going to do. But in the meantime, we will try it with this. Now this stuff here is, as you can see there, maybe if I can get it on camera, valve grinding compound, basic stuff. I just got it at AutoZone. So we're going to use that, and you're going to have to use it liberally, because this is what's actually going to do the grinding as opposed to the screw. In terms of which screw to use, it's kind of your choice. It's just got to be a little bigger than the bore, which this one is just fine in that category. So let's get to it. Just keep adding the compound because you don't want the barrel, which is obviously much harder than a brass screw, to become ground down, because it will happen if you don't use lots and lots of valve grinding compound. You can see there the screw's starting to get a little kind of groove in it around the bore. So you just keep using that valve grinding compound, so that way we'll get our angle there. One thing to point out when you're doing this, the rounded nature of the screw and the grinding is going to make you sort of kind of want to just jam it straight in there, but that's not what you want to do. You can do that initially to get a start, but what you want to do after that is just kind of work your drill around in a circular motion, so that way the wear doesn't happen in the same place on the screw. So just kind of like this. Then you want to keep it, generally a circular pattern around the bore, so that way your crown is even. So we got a pretty good crown on there. It really took probably 5 minutes of real time to actually work that screw around there, and the screw's pretty much gone down to nothing. But the crown looks pretty decent, at least at this point. Who knows if it's really symmetrical. The real test for that is going to be on the range, obviously. But one thing you need to do, or I recommend doing whenever you do a crown, to make sure that there's no burrs or anything in there, is just run a Q-tip in there. So it runs in, it comes out just fine. Nothing's sticking to it, which is exactly what you want. There's a little bit of grinding compound still in there. Keep in mind as well, guys, that you definitely want to clean your barrel completely, like thoroughly after this, to make sure there's no metal shavings or anything in there, because that could cause some damage to the barrel when you start sending rounds down range with that in there. So, but yep, you can see there, goes in, comes out, no cotton is stuck. The only thing we got there is some grinding compound. So that's exactly what you want. So again, though, the real test is going to be out on the range. Time to see if that jerry rig job is going to actually perform. So right now we got some 7.6 in the rifle. I also brought out some Red Army Standard to test a couple different weights. And I've already zeroed the rifle. I did a real quick zero at 25 meters, and we had zero keyholing at all. So I moved the target out to 50 meters to see if we see any difference out at a little bit different distance, because the bullet theoretically could start tumbling or whatever past a certain distance. So for right now, I'm just going to test it at 50 meters. If this works out, I'm going to take a little bit more off the barrel and just recrown it again to get it a little bit tighter with the front sight block. But I suppose the proof will be in the pudding. Anyway, I'm not going to do any sort of accuracy shooting. I'm just going to shoot the paper so we can see how the bullets are impacting. Trying to hold a little left there. Put the Red Army Standard in there and then go down and check it out. Let's go see. Well, a couple things are interesting there. Number one, we had no keyholing at all. You can see nice impact holes all the way around with both rounds. I was holding basically right here with the 7.6, and then with the Red Army Standard right here. Again, real quick, I wasn't really going for precision here, but you can see the different points of impact with the different weights. That's kind of interesting. But this is going to be the end of the video, guys. Like I said, I'm going to actually remove a little bit more of that barrel to get it a little bit tighter in there, recrown it, and then after that, we'll start shooting the footage for part 2. But obviously, it's a little redneck, it's a little ghetto, but multiple reports online have said that this method works.
it seems to work. So that's about it, guys. If you have any questions, you can post below in the comment section. You can also post over at my Facebook page as always. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next video.